Hey everybody, it's Friday, November 10th. Welcome to the TED Show, episode 58, with the beautiful Erin Ward. We are in the wine room here at the Citrus Club. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Please let me know you can hear us, because I'm doing this on my own since my partner in crime, Charnel, is off fighting a lot of battles. But Erin is the owner of WSI, which is a digital marketing agency, which I know it has a lot more names than that, and she's going to tell us more about that. But let us know that you can hear us. Look, I can see us, so we're golden. See, it's not so dark. It's not so light. Yeah. We feel like we're being drowned out a little bit by the light, but it looks pretty good. Yeah, it gets rid of my wrinkles. Or maybe that's because I have so much fat on there. So let me know that you can hear us. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm so excited. So we had a pre-meeting to talk about some really cool things, and I learned so much about what you do, and it was so fascinating to see your mindset, to see you roll through the ideas and brainstorm. Yeah. Because normally, and she'll tell you more about WSI and her history in a minute, but normally when you talk to anybody who's in digital marketing or SEO and you say that to somebody like me, I think I'm going to be bored or be talked over. And you were very brainstorming oriented, very ideas oriented, very marketing oriented. So welcome to the show. Thanks, Shirley. Sounds great from Kentucky. Hope you're having a good time up there. So tell us a little bit about you. I know you went to UCF.
Mm-hmm, I did.
So tell us more about you. Erin Ward.
So everybody. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri, and I have a huge passion for my hometown sports teams, which is something I always highlight. I'm a huge Royals and huge Chiefs fan. But I came to Orlando to play volleyball at UCF in 2006.
Go Knights.
So I've been here pretty much permanently since 2011. Kind of went around to England, lived in Colorado Springs for a little bit, and then met my husband, and the rest is history. I've been in Orlando since.
So what did you tell them a little bit about England? Because I find that fascinating. You did some really cool stuff over in Europe.
So there's a company called Festival Republic, and they put on the largest music festivals in the UK. So if you've ever heard of Glastonbury or Reading and Leeds, they're essentially the team that does all the logistics and all the planning for those music festivals, from booking talent to setting up the stages to setting up the restrooms and the campsites. So I was a festival assistant, and so I helped with the PR side, and then I also helped with the logistics side.
So that's great. So that's where you got some of your experience on doing both. Because when you took on your company and decided to own Orlando for WSI, and you'll have to tell everybody what WSI stands for, that you needed both, because you're the owner, so you can't just be focused on one thing. You have to kind of understand how all of it works.
Well, and I think just getting in the mindset of what a typical entrepreneur is, we're kind of always either Jane or Jacks of all trades, right? We have this ability to take 10,000 things and streamline it into a process that works. And so what really my past experience has helped me with is better plan and understand other people's industries. So when I go and talk with a client, I actually can speak the language, which is hard to do, especially when you're just a marketing person that's been in one field for forever. So I really try to utilize that experience and help communicate better with my prospects.
And any industry could be a client of yours, so you do have to know, but I think the experience of you being, like we did today, marketing, so you can put on the marketing hat and really we brainstormed today about the TED Show and about a whole bunch of other stuff. Evan says hi. Jerry McDaniel says hi. Evan Holwick.
Hi, Evan. Yeah. What's up?
And so we brainstormed today, and what I loved about that process was it wasn't all technology. It was ideas that you're going to build around the technology that you know.
Yeah, marketing, even though you take marketing online, it's still at the core of it, it's still creative, and even though digital marketing is more nerd marketing, it's more data driven, the focus behind it still has to be creative. You still have to find those gaps in the market that are going to help propel you to beat out your competition. And that's the part that I definitely enjoy the most, is because my mind tends to go 10,000 feet.
No, I loved it. I thought the creative process today was so good. Cool. The brainstorming was great. So tell them what WSI is and why did you choose that? Because you probably had a lot of opportunities. You probably were trying to figure out what you wanted to do, how you wanted to be an entrepreneur, but WSI was obviously attractive to you.
Yeah, so I've been working with companies for so long and kind of seeing how they operate and how things worked. And I just was I wanted the opportunity to not be pigeonholed to a job description, which I was finding tends to kind of limit your creativity because you're either an assistant or you're an associate, and it doesn't give you that creative freedom. And so really I've always had a passion for kind of being on my own, and WSI is actually a franchise out of Canada. So we're very lucky in the sense that we haven't had to build 20 years of experience in 1 year. We've been able to leverage that because of their experience. And so without that, we would not be as successful as we are today. Let me tell you that. That was probably the best decision we ever made, but it provides there were no cons in this situation because we were getting the 20 years of experience, but then we were also being able to have the freedom to do things that we wanted.
Sure, which is so important. You've got the name brand and the backing, and then you're able to take it and make it your own, which is awesome.
And the support we have from our home office is fantastic, and the freedom that they give us has just been really, really exceptional.
So what does WSI stand for?
It stands for We Simplified the Internet, which is
I did not know that, I swear to God.
It's not my favorite thing in the world, but when you think about it like that, yes, that's my job.
I like that though.
Yeah.
It's got a good ring
catchy,
to it. Yeah.
But that's essentially what we want to do. We want to make it really simple. We don't want you to have to think of all the technical aspects. We just want you to know that we're on the same page with you and we're going to implement it in strategies that we know are going to work for you.
Well, I think people need that. Like when we were meeting today, even though I already knew you and I knew that you were going to be amazing to work with, most of us have a little bit of a fear or trepidation of talking to anybody in technology because for most of us, we know the basics. We know how to get on our Facebook account, maybe. We might know how to hashtag something, maybe.
What is
but once you talk about hashtags and you talk about geotags and you talk about Google and algorithms, that's when people just tend to go, oh my God, I have no idea what's happening. They know it's important, but they don't know how to communicate what they need to you, but you make it easy. Yeah. We simplify the internet. Yeah. I love that, actually.
I know, and
that's
awesome. It really just helps. Like, we don't sit there and focus on, okay, well, we're going to add 10 header tags to your website. We're going to do this. But we try to focus on, okay, what are your goals? There's 3 things that people need. They need lead generation, so they need to get prospects in fast. They need lead nurturing, which means that they have a great pool of contacts that they just don't know really how to maintain communication with on a consistent basis, or they just need brand awareness. They've kind of gotten to that point, but now they want to expand out and create this big kind of large company. And so as long as you know where you are on that spectrum, the solutions are just a natural progression into what that is. Now, we tailor those solutions to budgets and goals like that, but that's really, at the end of the day, the basics of it. You fit into one of 3 categories, and those solutions kind of just sell themselves.
Which is awesome that you actually do the research and get to know the industry, because that's so important. Like, if you're talking about, hey, Tyler, how you doing, buddy? Hey, everybody. I haven't missed anybody. I think I've missed everybody. I'm sorry. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rose. And then somebody said, hey, from Kentucky. Oh, yeah, it's 36 degrees there, Shirley says.
Oh, goodness.
No, thank you. But I think it's so important to tailor it to the industry because as a mortgage guy, for example, I want something completely different than the person who's even a realtor, even somebody who's a business owner, nonprofit we talked about. Everything has to be tailored to that, and they're going to come into it thinking they know what's best, and because of your experience and your ability to do the research, you're able to really kind of guide them.
Yeah, and then what you do is you have these ideas and then you back it up with the data. I think that that's the most important part of all of this, is that with traditional marketing, obviously there's a lot that's been successful. Print marketing is still one of the best ways to raise brand awareness. But when you look at things like digital marketing and creating that strategy, you can have these big ideas, but then they're validated by the research and the data. And then you can say, okay, we missed a step here. If people are looking for personal injury lawyers in Orlando, but they're actually typing it in Orlando personal injury lawyers, we can find those different niches that we can help better tailor the campaign to.
That's true. I think people don't understand. That's a great point. So you can, depending on how you do your Google search, we'll say Google.
Yeah. best
the
way to
words, I mean,
Yeah.
the order of the words can make a difference. And I think people don't understand that there's a whole science and algorithm behind that. Is that what geotags are? How does that work?
Geotags are location.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is why I need to be educated.
So there's keywords and then there's key phrases. Keywords are like the core of it. So for you, it would be mortgage.
Right.
But for keyword phrase would be like mortgage brokers in Orlando. That's the phrase that incorporates that keyword, but it helps people better identify.
Oh, I
what
get
they're
it.
searching for.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Bill Solinsky says, you picked a great guest. Erin is a real pro.
Yeah.
I love Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
He's probably out there in the Citrus Club doing something.
Probably.
He's awesome. So how do you get somebody like me? Like, I'm a little more advanced than a lot of people my age, but people my age are desperately want to do better for their nonprofit, for their business, for their branding.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody comes to you and says, all right, I know how to get on Facebook, but I don't know much past that. What are the first things that you do? Like when you're having your first client meeting, what should somebody expect from that?
A consultation, really. It's trying to figure out if you're doing things well. I'm not going to sit here and just sell you on something that you need. What we try to do is we find where your goals are, and then we try to marry everything behind that. And budget is really the main kind of restriction. People either have time or they have money. So if you don't have the money up front, you have to be able to kind of build in the time to make these campaigns robust. And then just figure out what your goals are and then create a solution based around that. You know, if you don't have a website, that's obviously very critical. We need to get you established with that. But if you have a website, you don't really know how to use it, you have a social media intern that's done your posting for you, fantastic. Let her stay to that and let us do the actual search engine marketing and the SEO techniques that we can do to help kind of increase that search.
So talk a little bit about SEO, which I actually know means search engine optimization. But I think a lot of people are probably going, I have no idea what that means. So talk about that, because that's talked about a lot in every article, every blog, and I don't think people really understand what that means.
So SEO is essentially positioning your website in front of qualified prospects in the search engine. For instance, when we look at keywords like mortgage and mortgage brokers in Orlando, essentially what we want to do is we want you to be the first person on that listing. We want you to be the first person there. Now, they say that the best place to hide a body is on page 2 of Google, and it absolutely is true.
I hadn't heard that in so long, but I love it.
75% of people actually don't click on page 2. So it's really critical to get on page 1, but we're not all just fighting for that mortgage keyword. We can be really creative in finding the keyword gaps that will help position you there and get more qualified prospects. For instance, if you were cold calling all day and you called 10 people and only one person actually took your call. Here, you're actually being in front of people that are looking for you. Right. So it's actually more passive aggressive in that sense. It's like, hey, we're the experts. We're listed here. You can contact us if you want, but we're not going to oversell it. And it just helps businesses get that awareness out there and get their brand out in the market.
That's so cool. So you actually, when you're meeting with someone, again, it's back to the optimization part, really, because we all know that we all search, and what we put in there brings up hopefully the things that we want to see. But if we're trying to brand ourselves and brand our business or nonprofit, then we want to make sure that it's what people, and that's something we talked about earlier. You've done the research to know what people really are searching for instead of assuming that. And talk a little bit about that, because that was actually eye-opening for me today.
Yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity when you look at the data of the online marketplace and trying to tailor communication and content to other people. Essentially all we want to do with any solution we have is create the appearance, which might not always be the case, but create the appearance that you're the expert in your field. And how do you do that? You do that by answering people's questions with an educated answer. And blogging and search engine optimization strategies can help you do that. And in order to tailor that campaign to better get across to those people, you have to know what they're asking. So if people are asking, what questions should I ask a mortgage broker, we should create content that tailors to that conversation so that we're positioning ourselves in front of them. And then they might not be in that buying position then, but you're going to stay at the forefront of their mind through specific campaigns, drip campaigns, social campaigns.
I love that.
So when they are ready to make that buying decision, you're the first person they think of.
And what I didn't realize today is that just because, and I said it earlier, but I want to reiterate it, just because I think I know the questions, just because I think people are going to want to know the top 3 loans, or they're going to want to know about what a VA loan is. You actually go in and pull the data of the real questions from Google that are being asked by people.
Yeah.
And I think that's so critical, because you could build an entire campaign on your own around a question you think they want to know the answer to, and that's not what they want.
Well, and think about it. You're so ingratiated in your business. Like, the best thing about business owners and people in business is that they love what they do typically. They're in their position. They live it, breathe it, smell it. It's their existence.
Right.
But then you have to kind of take a step back, and I hate to use this terminology and saying dumb it down, but you kind of have to. You
Sure.
have to take that step back and be able to communicate what you do to somebody that doesn't understand. And
Right.
so by tailoring the questions or tailoring the blog post to answer those questions based on what people are asking, you can do that.
So we have, let's go through, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, blogging, Snapchat, if you're Pinterest. So how do you get, so I'm on all of those. No, I'm not on Snapchat, because my kids refuse to allow me to be on Snapchat, and it's probably a good idea. So everything else though, like I have a Pinterest account, and I do utilize that for business. What does somebody do? So they've got all of these social media outlets. Maybe they feel inclined to write a blog, but I think the first thing is which one's the most effective. But you sit down with them and really kind of go through, I'm sure, where their numbers are, how many followers they have, maybe how to build their followers. So talk a little bit about that, because there's so much out there, and I think people get immobilized or paralyzed because they don't know what to do.
And it is, as long as you keep it simple, just keep it simple. Create a campaign that is the messaging needs to be consistent across all channels, and that's as simple as it has to be. You don't have to have a different message for Facebook than you do with Twitter. Yes, a little bit on LinkedIn, but not much. I mean, because you're still catering to people. Social media is the conduit for interaction between you and your end user. And I always think back to like the 1990s, right? So I'm going to show my 90s girl fan a little bit here. I was an NSYNC fan, okay? I was a total NSYNC fan.
She was like 5.
Oh my gosh, I'm like obsessed with NSYNC still to this day. But when I was a kid, I always wanted to reach out to Justin Timberlake and Lance Bass and send them letters. But what social media has done is has like minimize the gap between you and the person you're trying to reach.
Yes.
And if you think about it like that from a business perspective, all you want to do is create an environment where people can ask you questions, but you also want to keep the messaging the same across all channels. So if on one page you're talking about veterans loans, and then on the next page you're talking about first-time home buyers, there's a little bit of an inconsistency in the messaging. Yes, the core is essentially the same, but we've created these campaigns to be very, very specific, and so we want to make sure that it's the same all across those channels. Because
they do look at consistency. I mean, you have, a lot of us have I have a lot of people on my social media. It's funny because for me, they're different. Facebook is different than what I have LinkedIn and what I have on Twitter. It's it's completely different. Instagram is the closest one I have to my Facebook, and I don't know if that's normal or not, but you still have to have the message consistent with what you're trying to accomplish, because you can't be all things to all people. And I think a lot of us try to figure out how to do that as an entrepreneur. We all want to say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. And yet that's not always the best way to market, especially social media wise.
Yeah, and I think yes, there can be some changes in how the messaging is across, but it's your friends are your best referral sources. If they don't know what you do, then who else is supposed to? So if you think about it like that too, social media is a great place for you to have that communication.
And that's sort of where the show was born, is that a lot of people didn't know what I did. So I'm still utilizing a Facebook, so I'm using social media to kind of talk about what I do. It's just a little extra step that you all could do too. Trust me, I had no experience. She did. She's used to being on air and on camera. But for somebody like me, it just seemed like such a great way to get in front of people and talk in a way that wasn't so in your face about my business, and be more educational and more informational. And you don't have to go Facebook Live, but there are so many amazing tools within all of those social media platforms that you can get to. And Erin can help you figure out which one is best for you, or maybe they're all best for you, but it's still a matter of you sit down with them, which I think is so important.
Yeah, you have to, because if our solutions aren't set it and forget it. They are super customized to every individual client and business and budget so that we can help you achieve your goals in a time frame. I am not going to be the person that's going to charge you an obscene amount a month and guarantee all of this stuff. Essentially, we do testing too, and we want to make sure that you're comfortable with us. A lot of our clients, they spend 6 months with us and then they renew for a year because they're so happy. And that's my goal. I want to build a relationship over long term. And if you're not happy with us, then we do everything we can to ensure that you are satisfied with the product.
So on a completely personal note, where did the work ethic come from? Because one of the things that's so impressive about you, see, I'm throwing her off because I didn't tell her I was going to talk about that.
Like, oh my gosh,
so
okay.
One of the things that's so impressive about you is that you are personable, professional, and we were talking about authenticity earlier, and you can't fake that. And so Erin, you really do care about your clients and what you're doing, and making sure that people are being taken care of, and making sure they're getting the things out of the services you're providing that they want. Because the worst thing is when people don't communicate to you that they're not happy. If they leave you and you don't know it, that's so frustrating.
It's like a breakup, right?
It is. It's totally a breakup. But you have a passion for what you do. So where did that come from?
There's a lot that stems from this. So I was a student athlete. I played volleyball at UCF during my time there, which was 100 years ago.
Really?
But I've always wanted to be better. I've always wanted to provide something that's better than what's in the marketplace. And the only thing that could differentiate us between another set of competition in the market that provides SEO is me. You're not only buying my company, you're buying me. And I
100%.
think that, I like people. That's the part of my job that I like the most. I love the creativity side of it too, and I love the communication. And I'm just so motivated because I see that there are businesses out there with amazing ideas, and they don't get the opportunity to grow the way that they should in the time period that they've allotted. I see it all the time. I have this amazing idea. I just don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Call me. We will figure it out. I will, even if it's like, hey, I have no budget. We just want to kind of spitball some ideas. I want to be that resource for people because I think it's so important to have.
I love that.
And I am a small business owner. I want other businesses to succeed. That's my goal because the main reason, there was an interview I did with my home office back in October of last year, and they were like, why are you so passionate about this organization? And why are you so happy to be a part of it? And I was like, because if one office does well and we help each other out, the whole community as a whole grows. And that's how I feel about Orlando. I've lived here for going on, 18 years, or 12 years, I'm sorry. And it's made me love this community, and I want to see it prosper and be this fantastic thing that I know it has the potential for being. And you and I talked about that before even being on air, about how this community is just amazing and growing and becoming such a hub for so many different things.
It really is. I think we're very blessed. Orlando, definitely, we have a lot of amazing leaders in Orlando, and I think that we have embraced, we're getting outside of the mouse. Not that the mouse is bad, it's just that was one industry that kind of steered everything for so long, and now we have grown. We've got Dr. Phillips, we've got Orlando City Soccer,
so much culture.
We've got Pride, we've got, there's food. We were talking about the food. It's not all chain restaurants anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with my chain restaurant people.
Everybody needs a good big
but we want to have everything that we do in this community. It seems like we are very good about embracing it. I have a meeting today with a gentleman from West Art District, which is Bobby Davidovitz and Gil Ramos. It's a project over here in Paramore. And just the fact that we can do that kind of stuff in Orlando now and I can work with them and try to help them with their vision, which is what you want to do too. It's amazing. We couldn't do that even maybe 15 years ago. We've definitely gotten a lot better and more embracing. And the fact that we're bringing more people in who are not transient, they're actually here because businesses are moving here is so important too.
Yeah, and then we talked a little bit about the STEM, all of the STEM, science, technology that's happening. I mean, if you go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, that's all Jim Thomas talks about because we're incentivizing technology companies to come here and start here. And that's I mean, it's a great market for me because they know the language. It's an easy sell. I don't have to educate them, but they don't want to implement it. But still, the fact that Orlando is becoming like a little like look at what Dallas has done. Dallas has become a satellite Silicon Valley.
Yes.
And essentially that's what Orlando is trying to do, and I just love that because I think it's the perfect place for it.
It is. Like even Canvas has opened an office down in downtown. And to have that shared space and all of these opportunities to have shared space, working space, creative space, I mean, I just think that's very forward thinking. I think Orlando is a lot further ahead of the game than people give credit. Because again, everybody, when you say Orlando to anybody, they think of Disney immediately.
How often do you go to Disney? I've been there once.
I know. I went to Epcot. It was awesome.
I did food and wine.
It's awesome. So what's the goal for you client-wise? So who's a great client? You're going to say everybody, I know.
It's,
and that's okay.
I hate that answer, but
no,
it's true.
Good.
I mean, it's anybody from somebody that is like, hey, I just really want to drive more reviews for my business, 5-star reviews. We have solutions for that. If you need a brand new website, yours is a little bit outdated, or you need somebody to rework your website, we can do that. Or if you're just like, listen, I don't know anything about marketing. I'm a small business owner. I'm finally at that point where I can have somebody come in and help me with it. That's really our ideal client.
And there's no charge for a consultation.
No,
so what you should do, and we'll put all of the information at the end. You know, it goes by so fast. It's 25 minutes.
Are you serious?
We're actually at 26 minutes.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But no, we're golden. That's why I always try to look at the time. I hate it when it goes by fast. Right? So we're going to put Erin's information, contact information, hashtags, geo, whatever. It's all going to be good. And then she's amazing. So if you have ever wanted to try to expand into the social media world or do better with your social media or search engine optimization or any of that, please reach out to Erin. I mean, you are absolutely amazing. I think so. I mean, you're just so great. You did amazingly well.
Good.
She was like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?"
Nervous.
I know. I still don't understand it because we're literally looking at my iPhone that I'm going to check my text messages on in about 5 seconds.
Right.
We love you guys.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Yesterday was crazy. So a lot of you have messaged me and said, "What happened yesterday?" We just had a little bit of a snafu with my person who was going to be on the show, and that happens. So instead of bogging you down with a whole bunch of information, I just decided to go to Friday. And we have an amazing lineup next week. I'll post it over the weekend. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then we will post, when we share it, I'll post all of Erin's information because she's awesome. So now you're going to so this is a little further for me, so I actually have to get up and hit the finish button, but you guys know that's one of my favorite parts because it makes it, we won't say the words we said, authentic. I like that. Love you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.